Z?
Yeah. So we're going to put Triolo on the IL. I don't know how much we talked about it yesterday, but his back locked up on the field 15 minutes before the game. That's why we made the switch to IKF. So we had some tests run. He's going to go on the IL. I don't know what the actual diagnosis of it is. I mean, if you want the generic term, is lower back is locked up, and Todd will probably be able to give you a more clinical. But and then we called up Z.
What stood out about his game in spring training, or just getting this past year or so?
Just defensively, how dynamic he is. I mean, I think we saw a full scope of it in spring training, regardless if he played second or he played short. I mean, he can really defend. I mean, he's played some third a little bit in the minor leagues. We, with losing Tree, we need someone to be able to play short as the backup, and right now we felt, he fit us the best.
What's it like to be in a position where, obviously you've done this before because you've been here for a number of years, but be in a position where some guy can have his major league debut, how cool is that?
Yeah, it's one of the best parts of the job. I mean, when you see someone that walked in, and I mean, I think his response to me was yesterday was his wife's birthday, and it was the best birthday present he could give her. So anytime someone comes to the big leagues for the first time, you need to cherish it. I mean, it's special. It's really hard to get here. The percentage of guys that play in the minor leagues that get to the big leagues is very rare. So we need to make sure that day is special.
Shelton, with the pitchers going with it being Majinski and Paul and then Mitch, what are your plans with Thomas Harrington moving forward?
Well, he's not going to start in this series. He will be available. So how we use him, I think we'll kind of figure out, how the game dictates.
Ben mentioned that he could be in the bullpen a little bit. Would that be more of a long relief role?
Yeah, that will be, in terms of how the game dictates, how we will use him. But he won't start in the series.
What were the reports back from Bednar's outing in AAA yesterday?
Very positive. Fastball was good, split was good, threw strikes. Everything was very, very positive.
What about the breaking ball?
Everything was fine. There was, I think he threw 14 pitches, 16 pitches, something like that. Yeah, very, very positive from everything I got this morning.
Shelty, is any of that mechanical, or is it just what he's working on down there?
In terms of Bednar?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's pitch usage, number one, location of pitches, and some of that can go to be mechanical, just making sure that he stays consistent with his delivery, which will lead to, better location of the pitches.
How much of it, when you talk about the location and things like that, how much of it is about the fastball, giving the other pitches the ability to play off the fastball?
I think they play in combination. When we've seen him at his best, all three have worked in combination of each other. So it's not just exclusively the fastball. We know the fastball plays in certain areas, but it's kind of the chicken and the egg. Does it play in those areas because the curveball works off a different tunnel, or the split plays a different way? So I think it's to the other question. I think it's why it's important that all three are working kind of in unison.
Was he leaving it too much right above the plate as opposed to
the fastball itself?
Yeah.
The fastball itself, the velo was still good. The location wasn't horrible. It was just, I don't think there was, a ton of, there wasn't a ton of usage or effectiveness of the other two pitches, which causes the fastball a little bit easier to isolate out.
How hard is that discussion when you have to send somebody down who's been in the big leagues for a few years?
It's extremely challenging, and I think one of the things about it is you just have to be blatantly honest. And we need David Bednar to be good for our bullpen to be good, and we got to get him right. So I think I was saying Grilly's point, we got to make sure that he's using all the pitches and it's good and it's solid, because I think what we were seeing wasn't consistent enough. And for us to have a good bullpen, he needs to be a part of it. So we had to get him right.
Is there somebody in the pitching group that, I hate to use the term this way, that can fix him, or anybody in the organization that you wanted to get eyes on him from, like an individual on staff? Maybe?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Within our pitching group, Jeremy Weiss is our director of pitching, so he'll take point on that with anybody at the upper levels. But it's a combination between Oscar and Strami and Sidney and Bennis and Jeremy in terms of these are the things we've isolated on, and then there has to be follow-up, consistent follow-up with that group when he does pitch.
Shelty, from what you know of him, now that it's kind of worn off that it's happened, do you expect that to be a motivator, like a chip on the shoulder type thing for David?
Yeah, I think so. I think the biggest component of the conversation I had with David was, hey man, I understand you're gonna be mad. I get it. Back to Johnny's point or Gorman's point, he'd been in the big leagues and had success, but we need to get you right. So take the time you're gonna take to be mad, but once you get there, you need to lock it in and work. And I think coming off the first outing, everything we got back, like he's done that. You know, players are, you know, no player you ever sent down's happy about it. And there should be some time of like, all right, I'm gonna be a little angry, but once you get to the affiliate, all right, now we need to go. And I was very pleased with last night from all the reports we got that that's the way he took it.
How hard was it to weigh whether to do that on April 1st as opposed to wait until after the home opener and give him a chance to pitch here this past weekend? How much did you have to kind of weigh that, or you could just say, let's get him fixed now, let's not worry about whether he pitches at PNC Park?
I think the most important thing was what was the best thing for David Bednar to get him right, and we felt getting him out when we did was the best time to get him right.
Skeens was talking to us a couple days ago about adding a couple pitches in the offseason, and he mentioned how it was like a collaborative effort with Oscar and the pitching group. And I'm just curious if you can speak to that process at all. Do you guys as a staff find yourselves often encouraging pitchers to add or experiment with new pitches, or when those situations arise, is it often the pitchers that come to you and want to start that dialogue?
I think it could be either way. I mean, there could be things that we feel guys need to use as weapons against maybe the other side, the other handedness. So it could be led by the pitching group. Sometimes it's led by the pitcher itself, by, you know, realizing, okay, I'm not getting swing and miss on this, or I'm not getting outs on this, so can I do that? A lot of it is being able to manipulate your hand. I mean, everybody can say, okay, I want to throw a split, I want to throw a sinker, I want to throw a two-seamer, I want to throw a cutter. How your hand adaptation works, how your arm works, sometimes lead to it. Sometimes guys pronate, sometimes guys supinate. You know, those guys are a lot smarter than I am in terms of how that works. So we have to make sure that the pitch traits and the ability to throw those pitches line up with what pitchers can do. In Paul's case, I mean, I think he had a good idea about what he wanted to do, and then it just started an open conversation of, hey, how do we think this will play? When are you going to use it? Becomes important, because we're not just, you know, making up pitches just to make up pitches to say, hey, I got 6 pitches. It's like, where is this effectively going to be used, and then how is it going to work off the other pitches that I throw?
What does Carter need to do tonight? I mean, the first start against the Rays, you know, the first time through was good, but anything in particular tonight that you'd like to see?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, to your point, I thought the first time through was really good. And then I didn't even think, I mean, the 4th inning, he basically just threw too many pitches. There wasn't a ton of hard contact. There was some balls that were placed pretty well, especially for extra base hits. Those happened to be on breaking balls that were up. So I would think, you know, getting through that time, I mean, if we get the softness of contact, we should be in good shape. It's just where those balls landed led the inning to be extended. But I would say the ability to keep the breaking ball down as we get farther into the game based off the last game would be something that would go into play.
I mean, everything going on with the bullpen right now and his success in the bullpen, you guys are committed for the time being with him as a starter. I mean, is there any temptation to solve that issue with Carmen in the pen?
Now, as of right now, I mean, I think we view Carmen as a starter.